Exploring student understanding in Ages of Empires 3 through situated learning. Video games can be a rich source of amusement and entertainment, but can they also be used as an educational tool? An increasing number of educators have begun to study video games as tools for engaging learners. Dr. James Gee of the University of Wisconsin-Madison and Dr. Kurt Squire of Indiana University have both published articles to support the theory that video games are powerful models of next-generation interactive learning environments. Learning through the use of video games can be best described as situated cognition or situated learning. There are 4 broad tasks for the design of situated learning in video games: selecting the situations, providing scaffolding, determining and supporting the role of the teacher, and assessing situated learning. The real-time strategy video game, Ages of Empires 3, is a great example of situated learning in which the learner is engaged in decision-making, planning, diplomacy, strategy, and exploration. The ultimate goal of the game is to win by conquering all other teams politically and economically. The learner may play a single-player game against a computer opponent, or they may play against another human in multiplayer mode. Players may compete as or against the British, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Dutch, Russians, Germans, or Ottomans. Each civilization has historical leaders, buildings, equipment, and supplies that were unique to each civilization in real life. Ages of Empires 3 is a unique tool for studying world history in that it allows learners to examine the relationships among geography, politics, economics, and history over thousands of years. The ages represent historical time periods. The Discovery Age, which represents the discovery and exploration of the Americas by Europeans and allows the player to explore and develop their economy. The Colonial Age, which represents the European expansion into the New World and unlocks early military units. The Fortress Age, which represents the fortification of the European colonies, unlocks forts and allows the player to have a more complete military. The Industrial Age, which triggers a strong economy due in part to factories, advanced buildings that automatically produce resources or artillery, and unlocks all units and shipments. And the Imperial Age, which unlocks all buildings and upgrades, and allows you to send unit and resource shipments a second time. History and geography become tools for gameplay, and successful learners develop conceptual understandings in world history, geography, economics, and politics. Prior to gameplay, a player may access the Learn to Play feature. This preloaded scenario explains the main aspects of gameplay through pop-up messages containing game tips and required clicking play commands. Gamers exposed to the simulator will use the scaffolding offered through the simulator to reach a better understanding of the game than those that go directly to gameplay. Here, situated learning overlaps with social development theory. In this situation, the more knowledgeable other, MKO, is the computer simulator. The player is learning inside the zone of proximal development, ZPD, which is the distance between the player's ability to perform the task in the simulator versus performing the task during gameplay. Bandura's social learning theory could also be used to explain this learning. The player retains what happens to the computer character in specific scenarios through attention to the outcome of certain game behavior. The player reproduces the computer's successful behavior with hopes that the behavior learned will result in success for your character. This knowledge is only accessible by those who use the Learn to Play feature. A player could learn this knowledge during regular gameplay or multiplayer mode, but players who access the Learn to Play feature have a significant advantage over players who are learning concepts on the fly during gameplay. The game always begins the same with a town center, settlers, military figures, and one explorer. The explorer could be described as the main character. The explorer is used to uncover all dark or unexplored regions of the map. The explorer can discover treasure, fight, and build trading posts. If your explorer loses his life, you are able to buy his life back with gold. New settlers are acquired through the town center at a cost to the gamer. The player must quickly learn that 3 basic requirements run this virtual reality: food, wood, and gold. These items are the basic tenets of all other actions in the game. It costs food to add new settlers or military personnel. It costs wood to build structures, and it costs gold to buy upgrades for your settlers, buildings, and equipment. The game keeps an inventory of these items front and center throughout the gameplay. The gamer will quickly learn that if these items aren't in balance, you will run into obstacles. For example, you need settlers to cut trees, mine gold, and harvest food. However, you need houses to provide shelter for the settlers. Once maximum population has been reached, new houses must be built to accommodate additional settlers and military personnel. Once settlers are acquired, work needs to be delegated by the player. The player can send settlers to cut wood, hunt animals, gather meat, or pick away mining gold. It becomes clear that focusing all settlers on one task is not helpful, as all 3 items, food, gold, and wood, are required for success. Smart gameplay would divide work between the settlers. A player that accesses the Learn to Play simulator would already have a strong understanding of these rules. Now that the gamer has learned the basic tenets of the game, new concepts are scaffolded by the environment. Your explorer can discover locations where trading posts may be built. These trading posts are additional ways to gather meat, wood, and gold. The player can even set which items each trading post receives. Upgrades available to the trading posts can increase the item's productions as well as how frequent they arrive. For example, when the trading posts are upgraded from horse-drawn carriages to steam engines, the items arrive twice as fast. As the player acquires food, wood, and gold, the game offers an opportunity to advance through historical ages. Advancing through the ages unlocks advanced weaponry, skills, and buildings that were not available in the earlier age. For example, while settlers start out with simple farming skills, they can evolve into plantations and markets as well as mills to produce the required meat, wood, and gold. At a certain point, you will either discover the opposing team or they will discover you. When opposing teams meet, a battle ensues. In my example, the opposing team discovered my civilization first, but my wall and military personnel were able to keep the opposing team at bay. I got the idea to build a wall around my town from the simulator. If you have entered into the industrial age, you are able to produce cannons and heavy artillery for use in battle. Upgrades are available for your armory to strengthen your military. Understanding how these items can be used by building on previous knowledge is key to protecting your civilization as well as conquering your enemies. I spent the duration of my gameplay advancing through the ages, gathering supplies, and accumulating military personnel to create my army. After my explorer discovered the enemy's town center, I sent my military to destroy it. My military consisted of items acquired over the ages, military on horseback, cannons, bows and arrows, settlers, tamed bears, and common settlers fighting for the cause. The opposing team's settlers and military defend their civilization using all the same means available to the player. It is on the player to use them more wisely than the artificial intelligence. If you destroy enough of the opposing civilization, a resignation will be offered. The player has the choice to accept this resignation or continue gameplay until every last opposing building and settler have been destroyed. Victory is yours once a resignation has been accepted or the opposing team's town is destroyed. This victory is contingent on the player using the situated learning and built-in scaffolding provided by the game. Victory is the assessment of successful situated learning in Ages of Empires 3 by the game itself. While the game is not 100% historically accurate, it does represent world history as an emergent process arising from overlapping, interrelated factors. Learners find real knowledge in the leaders, geography, animals, and equipment available during each age. The game engages each learner in unique ways. This engagement affects the kinds of questions students ask of their games, the kind of conceptual understandings that arise through gameplay, and the interpretations made about history. History and geography become tools for gameplay, and successful learners develop conceptual understandings across world history, geography, economics, and politics.